The best decision I have ever made in my life was 3 hours before the apocalypse broke out, when I came to the girls' dormitory to fix a pipe. At this moment, I was bracing my body against the dormitory door, because there was a zombie outside, crazily smashing against it, behind me. The panicked screaming of for female students was driving me crazy. I cursed it under my breath and kept bracing against the door, veins popping on my forehead. The first students were now chattering away, 3 of them looking at me with disdain. I was furious at this point. I never expected that, while I was here just to fix a sewer pipe, I would end up running into a zombie. What should I do? Humans have their limits, but the zombie outside does not. Even if we risked trying to break out, we would most likely run into more zombies on the way. Suddenly, a scream exploded right in my ear, causing my focus to slip. The door cracked open a little, and the zombie actually stuck an arm inside. Useless idiots. My anger surged to my head. What's the point of laughing? Shut up. Suddenly, a ding sound. Host's emotional fluctuations detected. Goddess Guardian system is activating and binding. Hosting crisis detected. Newbie gift pack being distributed. Listening to the emotionless mechanical female voice in my ear, I was overjoyed. There was no time to think. I shouted anxiously in my heart. Use it. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 5 strength attribute points and a defensive sharp blade. As soon as the voice finished, a sharp long blade appeared in my hand, and my strength almost doubled. No time to feel the changes in my body. Now that I had a weapon, I didn't hesitate. Aiming at the zombie arm reaching inside, I slashed hard with my right hand, with a loud swoosh. I must say, this blade from the system is worth it. It cut through without any resistance. Combined with my increased strength, the zombie's arm was severed instantly. The next moment, I pushed hard, and the iron dormitory door closed. I quickly slid the bolt into place, safe, but before I could catch my breath, the shrill screaming started again. He's killing people. He's hiding a knife. So much blood. Call the police quickly. Looking at these 4 useless girls, who just kept screaming, my rage flared up. Shut up. The world went quiet instantly, but the girls quickly reacted, looking at me in disbelief and cursing. You low-life pipe fixer. How dare you yell at me? Do you know who I am? Do you know how many guys in this school are chasing me? How could you treat a girl like this? Wow. You even dare to glare at us. How could you treat a girl like this? Looking at these 4 useless girls, who just kept screaming, my rage flared up again. A sense of oppression spread out, and the girls were immediately startled, covering their mouths, not daring to make a sound. The other 3 girls immediately fell silent, shrinking back in fear. The dormitory was quiet. At this point, the commotion outside the dormitory clearly seeped in. All kinds of screams, cries for help, and wailing were endless. Shouldn't we go and save the others? Not long after, one of the 4 couldn't bear it. So many people are asking for help. It's not right to just ignore them, is it? You're so powerful. Hurry up and go save them. Hearing this absurd request, I was shocked and indignant. We can barely survive ourselves, and you're still asking me to save others. Why don't you go do it yourself? But this person ignored it and kept rambling, even accusing me. Don't you have any compassion at all? Are you really that cold-blooded? They are still young. They still have the best years of their youth ahead of them. Their lives have only just begun. Enough. Don't you want to save people? I'll give you a chance. I was furious, and dragged her by the arm straight toward the door. After finishing all this, I turned my gaze to the system explanation interface. Goddess Guardian System User Manual. For every female student the host protects. For every female student the host protects, the host can obtain corresponding attributes and rare items. Having figured out how to use the system, I couldn't help but turn my gaze toward the 3 girls hiding in the corner. Everything happened so suddenly earlier, it was a matter of life and death, so I hadn't had time to look closely. Looking now, I was pleasantly surprised. Although these 3 girls had spoiled personalities, their looks and figures were top tier and absolutely premium. Most importantly, all 3 of them could be recorded by the system. I focused my gaze on the one who had clamored the loudest, who was also the prettiest of the 3. After focusing for a moment, a translucent attribute box appeared in my field of vision. Name: Suyeon. Age: 21. Looks: 90. Figure: 91. Interactions: 0. Obtainable attribute point: speed. Obtainable item: 30 cubic meter storage space. Obtainable special ability: 5. After reading it through, I was instantly shocked. This is great stuff, and the speed attribute point would be extremely useful. As long as I run fast enough, the zombies won't be able to catch up. I checked the item information. Only then did I look back at Suyeon, who was huddled in the corner, and sized her up carefully. Although her personality is a bit whiny, she definitely deserves the high score of 90 for looks given by the system. As for the other 2, though their looks and figures were slightly a step down from Suyeon's, they were still beauties on the level of campus belles. Name: John Lee. Age: 21. Looks: 90. Figure: 85. Obtainable reward item: Silence Pulse Hand Cannon. I was thrilled to think it would drop a Silence Pulse Hand Cannon. It's absolutely perfect for dealing with zombies. Close quarters melee always carries a risk of infection, but long range is much safer. Moreover, the Silence Pulse Hand Cannon doesn't make much noise. I can completely and quietly clear out the area step by step. Nearby zombies, and there will be ammunition drops later on. I turned my gaze to the last girl. Name: Lin Yuxuan. Age 23. Looks 90. Figure 88. Obtainable reward item. Stamina potion. I was shocked once again. Another amazing item. Needless to say, how important stamina is in an apocalypse. At a critical moment, it could even save a life. In the future, when running for my life from a horde of zombies, I don't need to outrun the zombies. I just need to run faster and longer than the people with me. Out of stamina, just chug a stamina potion and keep running. Seeing my gaze turn toward her, Lin Yuxuan, who was wearing a lab coat in the corner, suddenly shrank back in fear. What do you want? Right now, she completely lost her previous arrogant demeanor. Because she is beautiful and comes from a privileged background, there was no shortage of guys flattering her on regular days. This had also caused her to develop a haughty habit, so she had spoken quite rudely to me before. But the scene of her companion being trapped by the zombie just now had genuinely terrified her. She was now terrified that I would seek revenge. I glanced at Lin Yuxuan, a lab coat paired with a crisp, short shirt, her legs long and straight. She's practically born to wear black stockings. A stray thought crossed my mind, but after thinking about it, forget it. Now is not the time to be distracted. Survival is the most important thing. I quickly withdrew my gaze and ignored her, putting my focus back on the system's attribute drop mechanism. Food is going to be a major issue. If I want to farm attribute points and items, stamina consumption is unavoidable, so food is essential. Speaking of food, I looked around the entire dormitory, only to realize there wasn't much food to be found. The only good news was that Suyan, being a streamer, often did live broadcasts late into the night, so she had stocked up on some instant food. The rest was basically just the kind of snacks girls like to eat. High-calorie foods like spicy strips and potato chips. As for the water supply, the dorm used bottled water, and more than half a bottle was left unused. Tap water actually hasn't been cut off yet, but I didn't dare to risk it. Who knows if the zombie virus is lurking in it? The electricity was also working normally. Thinking of this, I quickly plugged my phone into charge and tried calling the police. We're sorry. The number you have dialed is currently busy. It wouldn't go through. I put down my phone and walked to the window, carefully opening the curtains, and my pupils instantly dilated. The dormitory was located on the top floor, giving a clear view of the situation outside. At this moment, the plaza outside was virtually covered with zombies, and students fleeing in absolute panic. But compared to the speed of the zombies, ordinary students couldn't escape at all. In less than 10 seconds, I saw nearly 20 people pinned down by the zombies. Desperate wails echoed outside the window. I quickly drew the curtains, taking a deep breath to calm myself down. I wasn't wrong. The apocalypse is truly here. After thinking for a moment, the first thing I did was plug all the power banks in the dorm into the chargers for backup use. The phone must be kept fully charged at all times to receive news from the outside world. Then I sat down on a bed, pulled a bag of potato chips out of the snack box, and ate them quickly to replenish my stamina, while picking up my phone to check for information online. In the corner, seeing me sit directly on her bed in my outdoor pants, Suyang opened her mouth but hesitated. Usually, if anyone dared to do this, she would have scolded them fairly by now. But at this moment, Suyan silently kept her mouth shut, since the terrifying scene from earlier was still fresh in her mind. Sitting on the bed, I scrolled through my phone. As expected, just a casual browse online revealed a massive amount of news about zombie outbreaks. The situation was very grim. Zombies were breaking out all over Planet Blue. Huge numbers of humans had been infected, and other creatures were no exception. There were even some creatures that had undergone terrifying mutations. The apocalypse is truly here. After sighing in my heart, an uncontrollable determination immediately took over. From now on, I can only rely on myself to survive in this room, with the system in hand. I don't have to worry at all about not making it in this room. I kept scrolling through my phone, and finished a bag of potato chips without realizing it. I poured a glass of water to soothe my throat, and looked at the three girls huddled in the corner. Well, calling the police didn't work, did it? I had noticed earlier that the three of them were secretly trying to call the police, but I was too lazy to stop them. It was good to let these three girls experience what true despair feels like. What on earth is going on? Facing the reality that even calling the police was useless, Suyang and the other two turned pale, their eyes filled with helplessness. The apocalypse is here. Get it? The money and background you used to rely on, as well as your so-called social status, have vanished along with civilized society and are now useless. From now on, it's a new post-apocalyptic world where the strong prey on the weak. Do you understand when I put it this way? After speaking, I stood up, and right in front of the three of them, with a sharp swoosh, I suddenly pulled the curtains wide open. Sunlight instantly streamed inside, accompanied by a nauseating stench of blood. The dormitory was on the 6th floor, so I wasn't afraid of being spotted by the zombies in the plaza. The remaining sunlight was exceptionally scorching, but at this moment, Suyang and the other two felt the chill run through their entire bodies by the window. Overcome by fear, they even started shivering uncontrollably. Wherever they looked, the plaza was covered in corpses, and a huge number of terrifying, gruesome zombies. Further away on the road, thick smoke rose and car accidents were constant. Several residential buildings were even completely engulfed in flames. The raging fire grew more and more intense. Cries for help, sounds of smashing, wails, various piercing screeching of brakes, and the loud roars of violent collisions from car accidents. I drew the curtains again, and looking at the three girls who were terrified and pale, I felt incredibly clear-headed. Facing such a terrifying reality, Soo-young and the other two exchanged looks and saw deep despair in each other's eyes. The apocalypse is truly here. Soo-young and the others discovered with despair that if they wanted to survive in this cruel apocalypse, it seemed I was the only one they could rely on. As for surviving on their own, what could they do? Being powerless as they were. As the sun set and night fell, I carefully opened a pack of instant noodles, and instantly, an intense aroma filled the dormitory. The stomachs of Soo-young and the other two in the corner immediately started growling uncontrollably. I pondered my next plan, while unconsciously stirring the instant noodles with a plastic fork, which made the aroma of the food even stronger. Coming back to my senses, I glanced over and saw the three girls squatting in the corner of the dorm, looking at the noodles and swallowing their saliva repeatedly. The long blade was sitting on the table, exuding a powerful sense of intimidation. "What? Are you hungry?" I lifted the noodles and shook them a bit, then said calmly, "Yes." Soo-young and the others nodded quickly. "You want to eat, that's fine." I smiled slightly, taking a bite of the noodles. "But if you want food, you have to pay the corresponding price." Soo-young and the others stiffened and understood instantly. They immediately became somewhat vigilant, hugging themselves and retreating a bit further, shaking their heads repeatedly, refusing. "We aren't hungry yet. You eat it, right? We aren't hungry right now. Actually, we haven't even digested our lunch yet." The three of them said this, while shrinking back into the corner, looking at me with eyes still full of resistance and filled with disdain. They thought I wanted them to pay a price for just a cup of instant noodles. In their dreams, Soo-young was full of contempt as a streamer with millions of followers, and the school's officially recognized top campus belle. Even when high-paying fans tried to woo her with massive amounts of money, she remained unmoved, maintaining her self-respect. According to her plans, she would never easily depend on others. Furthermore, she hated this kind of objectification of women the most. Did I really think I could make her bow down with a cup of noodles? Was she that cheap? Zhongli and Lin Yuexuan's thoughts were more or less the same, sneering in their hearts, both of them being widely recognized campus beauties, and not short on admirers. Rich kids in school kept sending them expensive bags and jewelry, yet they hadn't even managed to touch their hands. How could they possibly compromise now for a cup of instant noodles? How is that possible? Oh, it seems you aren't very willing yet. No problem. I have enough patience to wait. I hope you can stay this tough forever. I raised an eyebrow and didn't care, quickly finishing the instant noodles, rubbing my stomach, and lying on the bed to continue scrolling through my phone. There was still internet for now, so I had to use this time to download some crucial information regarding survival in the apocalypse. Better safe than sorry. While the data was downloading, I suddenly remembered something and looked at Soo-young and the others in the corner, kindly reminding them, "By the way, I almost forgot to tell you, there is only this much food in the dorm for now. First come, first served. If you don't eat, you'll starve to death." As soon as the word starve was mentioned, the expressions of Soo-young and the other two changed instantly. They had almost forgotten that there was only this much food in the dorm. If some eat more, naturally, some have to eat less or even have nothing to eat. Starving to death isn't just an empty threat. The apocalypse has only just begun, and rescue is nowhere in sight. At this moment, various thoughts flashed through the minds of Soo-young and the others, with their expressions shifting constantly. And as I lay on the bed, watching this scene, I smiled faintly. Indeed, only under pressure do people learn to cherish things. I'm looking forward to the changes in the three of them. Around 10 at night, I put my phone down, feeling a bit exhausted. I couldn't find any useful information, and the entire girls' dormitory building had also quieted down. In the darkness at this moment, I suddenly felt someone tug at my leg. Squinting my eyes, my right hand calmly reached for the long blade resting beside me. "Brother, I'm hungry." The voice was soft and muffled. My heart stirred immediately, and I raised an eyebrow. So someone finally realized the situation. Judging by the voice, it should be Lin Yuexuan, who was already interning at the hospital. "Oh, so you want something to eat?" I raised the corner of my mouth and turned on my phone screen. In the faint light, I saw Lin Yuexuan's beautiful, delicate oval face, while Soo-young in the corner, and the other girl had already fallen into a deep sleep. No wonder she came to me at this time. "Yes, please, brother, give me something to eat." Lin Yuexuan had snuck over quietly. She whispered, begging me. Watching the nervous look on the girl, I said calmly, "Oh, you want food? Are you really willing to pay the price?" "Yes." Lin Yuexuan's cheeks flushed slightly, and she lowered her usually arrogant head unconsciously. I handed over a small piece of biscuit. In less than half a minute, Lin Yuexuan had finished the biscuit, down to the last crumb. She licked her red lips and looked at me with pitiful eyes. "Brother, I'm still hungry." Her stomach had been empty for nearly a day. 2 small biscuits simply couldn't satisfy her. "You want more?" I curled my lips slightly and gestured for her to wait quietly. Lin Yuexuan hesitated for a moment, but in the end, hunger overcame her concerns. The feeling of having an empty stomach was simply too unbearable. Ding! Congratulations to the host for forming a bond with campus belle Lin Yuexuan. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1 stamina attribute point. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1 stamina potion. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1 treasure chest. In the darkness, I first added the stamina attribute, and my stamina value went from 6 to 7. The moment the stamina attribute changed, I could clearly feel that my previously tired body had instantly recovered a bit of energy, and my brain had become much clearer. I was instantly invigorated. It looks like I need to farm more stamina attributes in the future and get my stamina up as quickly as possible. Then, I took the stamina potion out from the inventory, a small, transparent glass bottle. Nearby, Lin Yuexuan had already fallen into an exhausted sleep, so I had no more concerns. I examined the item in my hand carefully. In the faint light of the phone screen, the liquid inside the potion bottle emitted a pale blue glow. I twisted off the cap and drank it in one go. The potion tasted cool going down, similar to a sports drink, with a refreshing aroma and a hint of sourness mixed in. The next moment, I felt a surge of energy. My fatigue diminished rapidly, and my body was filled with vitality again. At this moment, my eyes brightened. With the stamina potion, my future actions will be much more secure. Awesome. I barely managed to suppress my excitement. I turned my attention to the last reward, the small treasure chest that dropped from Lin Yuexuan. The treasure chest was only palm-sized and had a simple, antique design. With a crisp click and a flash of blue light, the treasure chest opened in response. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining one stamina potion. I was instantly overjoyed. Just used one and got another one as a gift. This is exactly what I need right now. There are currently 3 girls in the door, and there's no shortage of opportunities to increase my strength. I casually placed a pack of biscuits next to Lin Yuexuan. Hurry up and eat it. Smelling the aroma of food, Lin Yuexuan, who had been startled awake, had bright eyes, and immediately began eating quickly. After she finished eating, I signaled for her to rest quietly, then tore off a bed sheet from the bed opposite, and cut it into strips to make simple restraints. Only then did I walk to the corner, and wake up Suyan, who was still fast asleep. The two of them were excessively terrified during the day. Plus they had barely eaten for a day. I shook them quite hard several times, before Suyan and Zhongli were startled out of their deep sleep. Shut up! Seeing the two of them about to open their mouths to speak, I frowned and scolded them. Using the faint light from the phone screen, I settled the 3 of them into place, to prevent any chaotic incidents during the night, and only then did I nod in satisfaction. At this moment, Suyan's eyes widened in shock. What are you trying to do? The 2 girls had eyes full of resentment, especially Lin Yuexuan, who had just managed to get some rest. Her gaze was even more filled with suspicion. I turned a blind eye to the stares of the 3 girls. The apocalypse is here, and one must remain vigilant at all times. Even the slightest carelessness could cost a life. I walked back to my bed with light steps and went to sleep peacefully. Early the next morning, a sudden scream came from outside. I opened my eyes instantly and walked to the window in 2 or 3 strides. Pulling the curtains open, my pupils couldn't help but constrict. I saw that in the plaza, a male student was being chased by a large number of zombies, his left arm covered in bloody wounds. In this condition, he shouldn't be able to last long. The boy's dormitory is not close to the girls' dormitory, so how did he run all the way here? But that was not the reason for my shock. I frowned deeply, my heart skipping a beat. The super-powered student was running for his life, but during his hand movements, he could actually knock down zombies from time to time. But in the end, the fists are no match for a crowd, and a massive swarm of zombies rushed over and engulfed him. Looking away, I drew the curtains again. Today is the 2nd day of the apocalypse. Supernatural powers have appeared. The emergence of powers gave me a sense of urgency, because I don't have any special abilities yet. As time goes on, these superpowered individuals will definitely keep getting stronger. Simple attribute accumulation takes too long. I also have to speed up my pace. I couldn't help but cast my gaze toward the 3 girls in the corner. Time waits for no one. The food inside the dormitory can probably last for about another week. During this time, I must increase my strength as quickly as possible, then go out to look for food. It would be best to encounter a girl who can drop special abilities, that is, superpowers. In the corner, Suyan and the other 3 were also awakened by the sudden scream from outside the window, and were a bit uneasy for a moment. Their eyes couldn't help but fall on me. It's nothing serious. Someone downstairs is trapped by zombies. It's nothing serious. Someone downstairs is trapped by zombies. After giving a casual explanation, I untied the 3 of them. Then I picked up my phone from the bed to check the time. It's 9:30. There is still internet, and the power hasn't been cut off yet. After drinking a glass of water, I lay back down on the bed, and was preparing to browse my phone for a while, to see the latest situation in the outside world. Brother, could you also give us a drink of water? At this moment, Suyan's somewhat pleading voice came from the corner. She looked pitiful, having gone nearly a day without food or water. She can't hold out much longer. Food is okay. At least it can barely last a few more days. But without water, she might show signs of dehydration in 3 days. Suyan bit her lips, which were chapped from lack of water, feeling conflicted inside. I want to drink water. Hearing this, I raised an eyebrow and curled my lips. Of course you can, but resources in the apocalypse are limited. If you want to survive, you must show your value. Hearing this, Suyan bit her lips, which were chapped from lack of water, feeling conflicted inside. But at this moment, Zhongli, wearing an outfit, suddenly widened her eyes and sized up Lin Yuexuan beside her. Angrily, "Senior sister Lin, did you sneakily eat behind our backs?" Because compared to the 2 of them, Lin Yuexuan's complexion was rosy right now. Her red lips moist and glossy. She didn't look like someone who hadn't had a drop of water. And under Lin Yuexuan Yuxuan seat. There was even a cushion that appeared out of nowhere. This is clearly differential treatment. Congratulations, you guessed right. Watching this scene, I snapped my fingers as I lay on the bed, saying, "Congratulations, you guessed right. Your dear sister Lin took advantage of when you weren't paying attention last night and quietly ate her fill. After all, there isn't much food. If you don't fight for it now, you might not even have any to eat later." How could you be like this? Zhongli was instantly furious, but she didn't dare to blame me. Instead, she looked at Lin Yuxuan and lashed out in frustration. Suyang on the side didn't say anything, but after looking at Lin Yuxuan's rosy complexion, she licked her own chapped lips and lowered her head, not knowing what she was thinking. That's right. Brother Li asked me to be in charge of organizing supplies and keeping watch last night. That's why he shared food with me. To think you were caught. Seeing this, Lin Yuxuan didn't hide it anymore. She looked at the two of them with a calm expression. That's right. Brother Li asked me to be in charge of organizing supplies and keeping watch last night. That's why he shared food with me. To think you were caught. Seeing this, Lin Yuxuan didn't hide it anymore. She looked at the two of them with a calm expression. Looking at Lin Yuxuan's calm appearance, Zhongli was beyond frustrated. You really are willing to stoop so low? Yes, I am willing to stoop so low, but now I just want to survive. Is that wrong? After saying that, Lin Yuxuan looked up at me, her expression showing a hint of obedience. Oh, is that so? Seeing this scene, I curled my lips, knowing my strategy had worked. But I didn't agree immediately. Instead, I said, I have always advocated for fairness. So now, I will also give you a chance to exchange your labor for food. As I spoke, I took a bag of potato chips, opened the package, and shook it in front of the three of them, then took out a chip and put it into my mouth. And suddenly, a crisp crunching sound echoed in the dorm, accompanied by the aroma of food. At this, Zhongli, who was still furious just a moment ago, immediately closed her mouth, her saliva secreting wildly, her gaze fixed tightly on the chips in my hand. In less than 2 seconds, she stammered, "Ah, Brother Li, I want some." In the corner, Lin Yuxuan gave a scoff of contempt. Zhongli's face turned red instantly, but with food in front of her, she still bit the bullet. "What are you laughing at? You can do it, so I can do it too." And Suyang, who had also wanted to speak, seeing this, silently closed her mouth. She had always been proud. She couldn't bring herself to lower her status to fight for food, but I didn't pay any attention to her. My target was the one with the highest beauty score among the three, to silence Suyang. "So, student Suyang, do you want to eat?" After a moment of silence, Suyang nodded, and with difficulty, spat out a single word. "Yes, you want some too, huh? But food is limited. How about this? The three of you compete. Whoever performs the best will get priority for food. How about that?" At this moment, I felt incredibly satisfied inside. I don't care if you're some campus belle or goddess. No matter how big a deal you will be for the apocalypse, you have to follow the rules of survival in this bedroom. Competition among the three of you. Hearing these four words in the corner, the three beautiful campus belles exchanged glances, and the atmosphere instantly became subtle. None of them wanted to keep starving. Lin Yuxuan moved the fastest. After all, she already had the experience from last night. At this moment, I was lying on the bed, eating chips with my right hand, while my left hand was still free. She immediately walked over and stood quietly by my side, and after doing so, she even gave Zhongli a look. Zhongli felt unwilling to lose, and also quickly walked to the bed, arriving at my right side. At this moment, their eyes met, secretly competing with each other. Only Suyang reacted half a beat too slow. Seeing this situation, she bit her lip, and for the sake of food, she came before me and silently lowered her head. Ding. Congratulations to the host for forming a bond with campus belle Zhongli. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1 speed attribute point. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a combat type silenced pulse hand cannon. A series of system notification sounds ran in my ears, which made me grin. In a great mood, I tossed over a bag of potato chips, and Suyang and the others perked up, tearing open the package and devouring it greedily. After giving an order, I leaned against the head of the bed, leisurely allocating the attribute points. I opened my attribute panel and continuously improved my speed attribute. Very quickly, the speed attribute in my panel, originally 5 points, became 9 points, and the moment the points were added, I could clearly feel the muscles in my legs becoming tighter and more powerful. I flipped off the bed, ignoring the respectful gazes of Suyang and the others. Standing with my back to the iron dormitory door, facing the window opposite, I dashed in a flash. The 6-meter distance was crossed almost in a blink. Suyang and the others were also stunned at this moment, staring wide-eyed at me, as if I had just teleported. "Brother Li, your speed is too fast. Brother Li, are you an enhancer?" Facing the beauty's praise and exclamation, I smiled and calmly returned to the bed. "Easy now, we're just getting started. To tell the truth, I'm actually looking forward more to the scene later, when I max out my attribute values. I just don't know what the max attribute value is for the system. If I can reach extreme speed, almost no one in the apocalypse will be able to threaten me. After all, as long as you run fast enough, let alone a zombie horde, mode, you can easily avoid most common dangers. Subsequently, I took out the silenced pulse hand cannon. The moment the hand cannon appeared, I could clearly feel Suyan and the others shudder, obviously shocked by the way the gun appeared, and the weapon appearing in such a strictly controlled environment. But I didn't explain, and didn't need to. Keeping up the mystery at this time would only make the three girls feel I am unfathomable. As for betrayal, that's out of the question. After being recruited by the system, if there's any disloyalty, it will immediately issue a warning. After admiring it for a while, I stored it back in the space. I'll wait until the afternoon to test it in actual combat. Although I have the silenced pulse hand cannon now, aiming is a big problem. Hitting the target is what's key. If you can't hit it, no matter how powerful the weapon is, it's useless against zombies. Pondering to myself, I opened the space and placed the silenced pulse hand cannon inside. The 30 cubic meter space is about the size of a small bedroom, and it's all white, except for the silenced pulse hand cannon I just put in. It is empty. The sudden disappearance of the silenced pulse hand cannon made Suyan and the other two rub their eyes in disbelief, finding it even more incredible. In their eyes, I had suddenly become mysterious and unfathomable. At this moment, a thought surged into the minds of Suyang and the others, that they had been far too naive before, and blind to the truth, to have dared to shout at me. It's fortunate that I didn't hold it against them. Otherwise, the three of them would have already been in danger. Brother Lee, you're truly kind. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a tool treasure chest. It was noon. My stomach was growling with hunger, yet I had only received one tool treasure chest. Holding the treasure chest in my hand, I opened it directly, with a flash of white light. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 600 milliliters of mineral water. I raised an eyebrow. That works. Not long from now, clean water sources will be a problem that everyone has to face. So this comes in handy. Moreover, while opening the treasure chest, I discovered that only I can see the treasure chest, but the items open from it can be seen by others. Alright, stop making a fuss. Go help me make a cup of instant noodles. I handed over the mineral water in my hand, and after giving me instruction, I picked up the phone on the side. It was time to get the latest intelligence from the outside world. As the phone turned on, a video popped up immediately. The global population has decreased by approximately 80%, with zombies running rampant, and some small cities left with almost no survivors. One wave of a zombie outbreak instantly wiped out 80% of the living. I couldn't help but click my tongue. This is too ruthless. I shook my head, and scrolled to the next video, immediately taken aback. The video transmission location was the very medical university I am at. At the beginning of the video, a graceful figure instantly caught my attention. Such a refined woman. I couldn't take my eyes off her for a moment. Judging by her attire and temperament, she must be a teacher at the school. Although she looked a bit haggard, it couldn't hide her devastating beauty. In the video, the woman did not look panicked. Her speech was clear. As I focused my gaze, name, Gu Mengli, age, 29, looks, 96, figure, 96, occupation, university professor, obtainable attribute point, agility, obtainable item, large generator, obtainable special ability, neural overclocking level 1, note, 3S rank superpower. After reading through, I was stunned, and my eyes widened. I was just worrying about how to obtain a superpower. To think that it would come without any effort. A 29-year-old professor has extremely high value. I must find her. At the end of the video, the beautiful teacher paused for a moment. Then she said, to all the surviving students, if you are short on food and water, while ensuring your safety, you can head to the university's first cafeteria. There are enough supplies here to help everyone hold out until rescue arrives. As for those students who have awakened special abilities, if you have a persistent high fever, please do not panic. It is all a normal phenomenon. The video ended. Suyan and the other two had just handed me the prepared instant noodles. How far away is the first cafeteria from us? I asked as I took the noodles. The first cafeteria. The three of them were a bit surprised by why I was suddenly asking this. Suyang thought for a moment, and was the first to answer. The first cafeteria is not too far from us. About 300 meters. Just a 3 to 5 minute walk. Getting the answer, I squinted my eyes. Usually, it wouldn't be too far, but now it's not easy to pass with zombies everywhere. And the fact that I am currently in a 6th floor dormitory adds a lot of difficulty. There is no time to wait. I must start clearing out the zombies in the dormitory building this afternoon. I made a decision in an instant to collect supplies as much as possible while clearing them out. Food in the inventory doesn't have an expiration date. I'm determined to get this neural overclocking superpower, something the system calls a special superpower. Its importance goes without saying, and neural overclocking is a perfect match for the system's attribute bonuses. I was initially worried about my attribute points increasing too fast, and the problem of my brain not being able to react in time. Imagine a person whose speed is fast as lightning. What would be the consequence if the brain's reaction is slow? But once I have neural overclocking, all of this will no longer be a problem. Instead, with the two working in tandem, they can unleash power greater than the sum of their parts. I came back to my senses. and looked at Suyang and the other two beside me, staring intensely at the instant noodles, and constantly swallowing their saliva. I felt happy inside. In just over a day, the three girls who were originally arrogant had set aside all their airs and pride. The apocalypse really helps people grow. After happily drinking a mouthful of the soup, I handed over the remaining noodle broth, and instantly, Suyang and the others treated it like a rare treasure, walking carefully to the side and savoring it in small sips. Before long, after the three of them finished drinking the broth, they obediently returned to their original positions. Half an hour later, I had already scrolled through over 100 videos and put down my phone to start summarizing information from the outside. First, government rescue is still being organized. The zombie outbreak is global. Zombies appeared all over the world at the same time. The military is also responding with all its might. According to known information, countries around the world are organizing survivor defenses. Fortunately, people in the civilian sector have also begun to unite for self-rescue, organizing themselves, barely able to form effective defenses and rescue efforts. Theoretically speaking, in this situation, all network equipment should have also stopped working. But strangely enough, in some areas, you can still use the network to watch short videos and contact each other. This completely defies common sense. Finally, all over the world, like mushrooms after rain, a large number of superpower individuals have appeared, possessing incredible powers like fire breathing, ice making, lightning, and so on. Besides this, some people can move quickly for short bursts using their powers. But the sky is not safe. Many mutated birds are circling in the sky. Flying into the sky is just suicide. Here at the medical university, a handful of superpowered people have also appeared, and they have even started gathering survivors, wanting to clear out all the zombies in the university to protect the entire medical university. I couldn't help but say to myself, with tens of thousands of students and faculty in the medical university, is it really that easy to clear? Don't end up unable to save yourselves. My strength improvement currently depends entirely on building new connections. The method of farming attributes is too slow, and the drop rate is too low. Only by building new connections is the fastest way to become stronger. Therefore, I can only pin my hopes on these people not being too reckless. Of course, I don't care what happens to others. Just don't get my beautiful teacher involved. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I used tape to wrap some books around my arms, legs, and other areas easily bitten by zombies. As for Suyang and the others, the system has already accepted them. There's no possibility of betrayal. No need to worry. Once I am surrounded or chased by zombies, you know what to do, right? I asked in a deep voice before heading out. Once I am surrounded or chased by zombies, you know what to do, right? Make noise. To attract the zombies' attention. To buy time for brotherly. I nodded, feeling satisfied, after giving some more reminders about handling other unexpected situations. Seeing through the peephole that there were no zombies outside for the moment, I pushed open the door, gripped the weapon in my hand, and walked out quietly. To live comfortably in the apocalypse, one must seize every opportunity to keep getting stronger. With strength far surpassing everyone else, it's no good to just hide in the dormitory and live off existing supplies. The system's bond function also requires me to constantly look for new targets. As the dormitory door behind me slowly closed, I took a deep breath and took the first step. Room 601 is located right by the stairs. Looking out, the entire dormitory hallway was covered with brown bloodstains. I forced myself to endure the pungent stench and carefully walked to the room next door. The door wasn't locked. I took the long blade out from my inventory and used the tip of the blade to push it open. I observed the environment inside room 602. Seats were scattered everywhere. Books and clothes covered in footprints were thrown on the floor, showing the panic of the people who fled the dorm earlier. There were no zombies in any corner of the dorm. It was safe. I gripped the blade tightly and carefully entered. After confirming there were no zombies in the bathroom or on the balcony, I started rummaging through everything. Instant noodles, spicy strips, all kinds of daily necessities. After a thorough search, the harvest was quite significant. The girls' dormitory is indeed rich in supplies. Besides various small snacks, daily necessities were also fully stocked. Afterward, I spent nearly an hour scavenging the entire 6th floor. Inside my inventory, all kinds of food had slowly piled up into a small mountain, enough for adults to eat to their heart's content for 2 or 3 days. After all that hard work, I found a chair in the last room, sat down to rest for a while, and ate a little something. Then went downstairs to continue. I planned to spend the entire afternoon scavenging the 5th and 6th floors and clearing out all the zombies within them. When I reached the 5th floor, I poked my head out to take a look and instantly shrank back, heart pounding. Right now, a female zombie in white clothing was wandering in front of the iron door of room 506. My heart sank. In this case, I had to be on high alert. Once I made any noise, the other zombies in the dormitory building would definitely be attracted here. If the numbers were too high, I would have to retreat. I carefully pulled the silenced pulse hand cannon out of the inventory Before starting out, I had specifically checked the instruction manual. The distance between us was about 7 or 8 meters. I took a deep breath, held the gun with both hands, and aimed at the zombie's head. Without too much hesitation, I pulled the trigger. Hearing only a soft poof, the zombie in the distance fell to the ground. That was my first shot. My heart was pounding uncontrollably. Taking a deep breath, I quickly made myself calm down as fast as possible. I couldn't afford to mess up at a critical moment. The zombie was killed in one shot. But I didn't rush out immediately. Instead, I stayed in place and waited silently for 1 minute. Seeing that there were no other accidents, only then did I carefully walk out to room 501. The iron door was tightly shut. I tried to push it a bit, and the result was a vigilant girl's voice from inside. "Who is it?" My heart tightened. I turned around and left immediately, having no intention of communicating, and headed toward room 502 next door. Today my main goal was to scavenge for supplies and clear out zombies along the way. Rescue was not within the scope of my plan, but what I didn't expect was, just as I was about to enter room 502 to scavenge, the iron door behind me opened quietly. A head cautiously poked out. Trembling, she asked, "Excuse me, are you a survivor?" I heard her and turned back. I had originally intended to deny it, but when I saw the girl's face in front of me, my eyes lit up immediately. What a beauty. At the same time, the system attribute panel appeared. Name: Sujinran. Age: 21. Looks: 91. Figure: 94. Obtainable attribute point: speed. Obtainable item: a set of portable kitchenware. Obtainable special ability: water manipulation superpower. One of the campus spells of the medical university. The information about the various campus spells of the medical university immediately surfaced in my mind. The apocalypse is here. Some busybodies compiled and posted information about the campus spells. Before the apocalypse, everyone just took a look, because I heard that Sujinru's family background was pretty good, and her father seemed to be related to the military. Sorry, I'm not a rescue worker. I shook my head. The light of expectation in the girl's eyes in front of me gradually dimmed, and she looked despondent. I curled my lips upward and changed my tone. Sorry, I'm not a rescue worker, but I can bring you along to survive. In principle, blindly saving people in the apocalypse is not advisable. I naturally understand this logic, that the person standing in front of me right now is a treasure with superpowers, who can stably provide attributes. Hearing what I said, Sujinru's expression shifted, and a glimmer of hope re-emerged in her heart. Ever since the chaos happened yesterday, and the zombies appeared, she immediately called her family. The situation on the other end of the line was chaotic. Her family told her the situation was serious, and told her to hide well in the school, and wait for them to come and rendezvous later. Then the call was cut off. Fortunately, she was the only one in the dormitory at that time. After hanging up the phone, Sujinru immediately locked the dormitory iron door tightly. But things take unexpected turns. In the afternoon, she suddenly developed a high fever and had a splitting headache, just when she thought she was surely going to die. After toughing it out for an entire night, the high fever miraculously subsided on its own, and she survived, and seemed to have awakened a special ability, because the dormitory didn't have enough food. She was already famished by this point. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been so bold as to open the iron door. As soon as she saw someone, hunger is truly unbearable. "Excuse me, sir. Do you have anything to eat?" Because my face looked quite friendly, Sujinru mustered the courage to make this somewhat excessive request. After speaking, her little face turned red. Feeling a bit embarrassed, she added, "I know this request is a bit excessive, but please believe me, I will do my best to help you in the future." To her surprise, I readily agreed, "No problem." But before she could be happy, I changed my tone. "No problem. But now that the apocalypse is here, I don't need to tell you how important food is. If you want food, you have to exchange it for labor or show me your ability." As soon as these words were out, Sujinru remained silent for a long time. Then she said, "I don't have anything to exchange with you, but I can create clean water. Water creation superpower." Hearing this, my heart stirred, and I remembered the system attribute content I just saw. The special ability she can drop is the water-type superpower. But what surprised me was that the water-type superpower can directly create water, and not just control it. Following this logic, the beautiful professor's superpower in the cafeteria is neural overclocking. At this moment, I understood in my heart that the obtainable special abilities are actually the superpowers they already possess. Coming back to my senses, I looked at Sujinru, who was biting her lip, and was even more pleasantly surprised the more I looked. Her figure is top tier, and the ability to create water is an even better thing. Water is the source of life. Not to mention it's midsummer now, and clean water is extremely important. Water creation can be considered solving my urgent need. Classmate, just being able to create water isn't enough. Although I was pleasantly surprised inside, I shook my head on the surface, looking somewhat indifferent. Classmate, just being able to create water isn't enough. While water is important, it cannot replace food, and I'm afraid you can't create much water every day either. Hearing this, Sujinru couldn't help but lower her head in dismay. dismay. I wasn't wrong, although she can use her superpower to create water. It consumes a lot of stamina. Currently, her limit is 1 small bucket per day. Of course, if there were enough food supplies, she could easily double or triple that. Seeing Sujinru stunned on the spot, pursing her lips, speechless, I was surprised. Such an innocent girl is rare. Never mind. I'm a kind-hearted person. Go back to your room first. I'll come get you in a bit. I waved my hand and said, pretending as if I had made a huge loss. Thank you. Thank you. You really are a good person. Hearing this, Sujinru's eyes instantly welled up. She was so moved. Don't. Let me stop you right there. I don't want a good person card. I have things to do. I'll come find you in a moment. After instructing Sujinru to stay safely in the dormitory, I hurried to the dormitory next door. Such a large girls' dormitory, full of hidden talents. Arriving at room 502, looking at the various daily necessities, had rummaged out. I couldn't help but shake my head. They are so well stocked. Following the order of the dormitory room numbers, I spent about an hour and a half, completely ransacking the entire 5th floor of the dormitory. Of course, I didn't go to room 506. I didn't even knock on the door. Safety first. If I'm not mistaken, the people in that room have likely met with misfortune. There's no need to take the risk. Returning to room 501, before I could knock, Sujinru had already opened the door and walked out impatiently. Follow me. After saying that, I took the lead and headed upstairs. Returning to room 601, the moment Sujinru was seen, the 3 girls in Suyang's group looked at her with hostility. Sujinru, what are you doing here? One more person means one more person consuming food. Sujinru lowered her head. Looking helpless, I brought her here. Do you have a problem with that? No. No. Brother Lee. We were just asking. Suyang's group quickly waved their hands, trying to explain. Enough. Stop the nonsense. Go make some noodles. Returning to the dormitory, I lay directly on the bed. Okay. Brother, we're going right now. How could Suyang's group dare to have any opinion? They nodded quickly and busied themselves. This scene left Sujinru astonished. Suyang's group were fellow campus belles just like her. Naturally, she knew them. They used to be arrogant and dismissed all bows with disdain. Yet now they were totally obedient to me. Soon, the instant noodles were ready. The aroma of food instantly permeated the dormitory. At this moment, Sujinru's stomach growled uncontrollably. The other 3 girls were also drooling, looking eagerly at the instant noodles placed on the table. But it didn't end there. The next moment, under the shocked gazes of the 4 girls, I waved my hand casually, and a massive amount of food suddenly appeared on the table. Spicy strips, potato chips, chocolate, biscuits, and even self-eating hot pot and rice. The 4 girls widened their eyes in shock. This is so much food. Is this a spatial ability? Because their phones had internet, they probably also understood the changes that have occurred in this world. Many people have awakened so-called superpowers, but compared to my ability, the others were simply not worth mentioning. Now, let me state my rules. Suyang's group understood in their hearts and nodded solemnly. They had long since faced the reality and only wanted to cling firmly to me. I nodded in satisfaction and fixed my gaze on Sujinru, who looked conflicted. So, what about you, student Su? Sujinru pursed her lips. Words of refusal were on the tip of her tongue, but she couldn't say them. She was too hungry. Yet on the table not far away, piles of food made her saliva secrete wildly. After a long while, Sujinru's weak voice came. I am willing to. Very well. I got the answer I wanted. I chuckled lightly and said, now you can eat whatever you want. I wasn't really short on food for the time being. Just the food accumulated from scavenging to floors was already enough for 5 people to eat for 10 days. I can only say, it's a girls' dormitory after all. All kinds of small snacks are endless, box after box of them. As for what to do after 10 days, by then, I reckon I will have already taken down the first cafeteria not far away. There is a massive amount of food there. Therefore, I didn't impose any more restrictions on food consumption. Besides, for beauties, if they really starve until their skin and bones, it would significantly reduce the guardian bonus, and the efficiency of material drops only after being well fed. Can everyone cooperate side by side? Brother Lee, you eat first. Although I had already told the 4 girls to eat first, no one dared to move first. Suyang even sensibly handed the instant noodles over first. Zhang Li and Lin Yuexuan were not idle either, busy peeling eggs and sausages. Brother Lee, the noodles are too hot. Eat the marinated egg I peeled first. Marinated eggs are unhealthy. Brother Lee, eat the sausage in my hand first. Okay, Brother Lee, I've already cooled down the noodles. Don't listen to them talk nonsense. Eat the noodles to fill your stomach first. Sujinru watched this scene and was stunned once again. These 3 campus belles, who were usually high and mighty and dismissed men with disdain, were all earnestly taking care of me at this moment. I lay on the bed, scrolling through my phone, enjoying their attentive care. Seeing from the corner of my eye that Sujinru was still standing there motionless, I couldn't help but frown. Why are you standing there? Go eat. Okay, Sujinru replied in a low voice, and under the envious gazes of Suyeon's group, she tore open a bag of chips and started eating in small bites. Brotherly, why does she get to eat first? This is unfair. Exactly. Why does she get to eat first? Boo-hoo. We want to eat too. Looking at Sujinru eating with gusto, Suyeon felt jealous, and immediately took the lead in making a scene. I frowned. I said you can. Then you can. Everything here is arranged by me. What you need to do is execute, not question. Yes, brotherly. We were wrong. Faced with my sudden seriousness, the four in the dormitory were instantly silenced. Suyeon was scared to death, terrified that I would kick her out of the dormitory, and apologized repeatedly. Brotherly, I was wrong. I won't ever dare to do it again. Alright, just cooperate well from now on. After venting my anger, my tone instantly softened again. Yes. Suyeon, with a face full of panic, nodded repeatedly. This side of me didn't make her feel gentle. Instead, it made her feel even more in awe. Alright, go eat something. By the way, student Su, remember to fill your stomach. I want to see your ability in a while. I looked at Sujinru and spoke softly, yet she was so scared, she nodded repeatedly. Alright, go eat something. By the way, student Su, remember to fill your stomach. I want to see your ability in a while. I looked at Sujinru and spoke softly, yet she was so scared, she nodded repeatedly. Okay. Brotherly, although it was intermittent, she finally managed to say it. Good girl. I praised her and pacified the others. I shifted my attention back to the phone in my hand. After the apocalypse, the development of the outside situation is the most important thing. Many things happen over the course of the afternoon. First is the medical university, where I am located. The few superpowered people who had been shouting about taking back lost territory and clearing out zombies lost 3 of their members in just one afternoon, and the remaining 2 were almost wiped out as well. Facing a terrifying horde of zombies, the current superpowered people have no power to fight back at all. It can only be said to be within expectations. Among the 2 survivors with superpowers, one is a physical education teacher with tower mutation, who can easily lift heavy objects 5 times his own body weight, and the other is a senior student, the president of the school's student union, who can condense fireballs with his hands. As for Professor Gu, whom I am constantly thinking about, she has hidden herself well and hasn't gone out to take any risks, nor has she revealed the news that she possesses superpowers. Next is the outside world. 50 kilometers away from where I am, there is a military base. 1 hour ago, the military base announced the establishment of a safe zone to house nearby survivors to resist zombies together. At the same time, a large number of safe zones were announced to be established across the Dragon Kingdom. The military is in the hardest hit area of the zombie outbreak, and troops are spread thin, unable to spare any forces for rescue at all. They can only announce the establishment of safe zones. In addition, anomalies are frequent in many places around the world. The environment in some areas has suffered severe impacts, and both ecology and order are deteriorating rapidly in heavily populated, hard-hit areas overseas. After the zombie outbreak infection spun out of control, local authorities even launched a final destruction plan, dropping high-yield strategic bombs, attempting to block the zombies. However, after this devastating bombing, although nearly 90% of the zombies were wiped out, those that survived under the high-intensity radiation and explosions underwent even more terrifying mutations. Finally, I scrolled to the power grid notice for the entire region. I was not surprised by this. To be able to hold on for this long, Waxia has already done very well. As for other countries, most of them lost power 2 hours after the apocalypse. The better ones also lost power this morning. Only this mobile phone network seems a bit strange. Looking at the full 5G signal on my phone, I find it increasingly strange. It's too absurd. Why is there still a network when there is no electricity? I shook my head and stopped obsessing over it. If there is a network, then there is a network. Next, it's time to improve my own strength. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but fix my gaze on Sujinru, who had finished eating, and was staring blankly at the sunset outside the window. At this moment, Sujinru is as beautiful as a character from an anime, with long, black, shiny, and smooth hair, hanging down freely. As I kept watching her, my heart also flared up with some passion. As the sun gradually set, night began to cover the earth. Student Su, come over here. I suddenly spoke. Sujinru, who was sitting by the window, shivered, stood up quickly, and walked over obediently. Are you full? I'm full. Thank you, brotherly, Sujinru stammered, as she called me brotherly twice. Her little face suddenly turned beet red. It's good that you're full. It's time to resonate abilities. Before long, the system notification sound rang out. Ding. Congratulations to the host for achieving ability resonance with Sujinru. Obtain special ability, water-type superpower. Looking at the obtained water-type superpower, I stretched out both hands. In the pitch-black dormitory, a faint blue light suddenly began to glow. In a flash, the 4 girls who were originally sprawled on the bed sat up instantly, with eyes widened in shock. Sujinru even opened her mouth wide, revealing an expression of disbelief. She didn't have time to think about this familiar glow before she saw that my hands were already completely covered in blue light. The rich blue light gradually gathered together. Strands of water vapor spread from the palm. bombs, finally forming crystal clear water droplets. That's awesome, watching the small puddle of clear water appearing out of thin air in my hands. I couldn't hold back the excitement in my heart. Water, clean water. This means no matter how harsh the environment is in the future, I won't have to worry about water problems anymore. On the side, Soo-young and the other three were dumbfounded by this scene. Soo-jin even rubbed her eyes, wondering if she had seen wrong. Brother Lee can actually create water out of thin air. Soo-young, drink it. At this moment, I squinted and gave the order. Yes, Brother Lee. Hearing this, Soo-young on the side licked her chapped lips. Although I had given out a lot of food earlier, there was no water. She had already been extremely thirsty. At this moment, hearing the order, she immediately brought her mouth over, with clean water entering her mouth. Soo-young instantly couldn't help but let out a sigh of satisfaction. It's a pity there was only a small sip. After carefully finishing the water, she looked up with lingering attachment. All right, don't disturb me. I closed my eyes and opened the system panel. I started adding attribute points to myself. After the fierce battle just now, I obtained 2 speed attribute points and 1 stamina attribute point. Name: Lee Angi. Age: 23. Strength: 10. Agility: 5. Speed: 11. Stamina: 8. Name: Lee Angi. Age: 23. Strength: 10. Agility: 5. Speed: 11. Stamina: 8. The moment the attribute points were added, I could clearly feel that my overall physical quality had improved significantly, especially in terms of speed. With my current speed attribute at 11 points, it is no exaggeration to say I am already one of the fastest people on Earth. I took out the tool treasure chest I had obtained and opened it directly with a flash of green light. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a random ingredient pack. The ingredient pack has been automatically opened. 10 caddies of rice, 5 caddies of fresh beef. At this moment, I, who was starving, instantly felt energized and couldn't help but swallow my saliva. Damn it. Finally, I don't have to eat instant noodles. Is there anyone here who knows how to cook? I withdrew my gaze and asked the 4 girls lying on the beds. Cooking. The 3 on the beds looked at each other, looked at one another, and shook their heads firmly. I can. At this moment, Soo-jin cautiously raised her hand. Seeing my gaze turn towards her, she shyly pulled the blanket and lowered her head quietly. You can. I was a bit pleasantly surprised. Then I'll give you a task. Use these ingredients to cook. Cooking. Soo-jin tilted her head, hearing this, somewhat confused. But Brother Lee, I don't see any ingredients. Who says there aren't any? I smiled and waved my hand, and saw a large pile of ingredients instantly appear on the table next to us. Colorful vegetables instantly dazzled the 4 girls. Wow, so many fruits and vegetables. Brother Lee, how did you do that? It's truly amazing. Soo-young's group of 4 widened their eyes instantly, their eyes full of disbelief. Before they could finish speaking, I waved my hand again. In the blink of an eye, a large pile of items appeared on the floor again. Stoves, kitchenware, pots, pans, and so on. At this moment, the 4 girls were stunned. Every time they saw me conjure things out of thin air, their hearts would be quite shocked. All right, everything is here. You move them to the balcony. We'll have a late night snack tonight. Close the windows well and keep the nose down. I instructed them calmly. The 4 girls exchanged glances, feeling incredibly excited in their hearts. They never imagined that after the apocalypse arrived, they would still be able to eat fresh, hot meals. Watching the 4 girls busy on the balcony, I suddenly felt that the dormitory space was indeed a bit small. Later on, I'll have to switch to a larger base of operations. I pondered my future plans in my mind. The school cafeteria has 5 floors, and even has a frozen storage warehouse. Inside are all kinds of frozen food. The most critical thing of all is the top-tier mature professor who possesses the neural overclocking superpower. Once I obtain the neural overclocking superpower, and combine it with the system's attribute point allocation, I will have no more worries. What do you mean my brain can't keep up with my movements? That's impossible. It's best to raise my strength until I can crush everyone else before I go. I touched my chin, and thought prudently. In the apocalypse, there's no room for error. I don't want to be careless and die at the hands of some small fry. After all, I haven't reached the point of being invulnerable yet. Wait. Suddenly my heart stirred, and I remembered the medical university I was currently at. Haixing Medical University. This is the best medical university in the entire Dragon Kingdom. The school is full of medical students, medical PhD.S, professors, and even medical experts. And it also possesses a massive amount of medical supplies. What is the most lacking thing in the apocalypse? Food, clean water sources, and life-saving medicine. The more I thought about it, the more excited I became. As long as I wait until my strength is sufficient, using the medical university as an apocalyptic base is simply the most suitable choice. In the future, I can use the medical university as a starting point, build a shelter, and gradually expand outward, constantly absorbing more survivors, with more people under me. It's much easier than exploring alone. In this way, my strength can be constantly and steadily improved. But the most urgent task is still to finish clearing out the zombies in the dormitory building, to pave a safe path for heading to the first cafeteria. Retracting my thoughts, I stretched on the bed and headed to the bathroom. It's It's been 2 days since I last showered in this heat, plus the frequent exercise. I'm already feeling sticky all over. The bathroom is right next to the balcony. I walked to the front of the bathroom and saw the 4 girls were on the balcony, dizzy messing with the ingredients, a scramble. Walking into the bathroom, I casually grabbed a water bucket and started to use water washing. Superpower water creation. Although the inventory contains a massive amount of purified water, but that is a strategic resource and cannot be wasted. Inside the bathroom, I set my mind to it, and the blue light instantly appeared. Appearing on my 2 hands. A moment later, the blue light became rich and solidified. Drops of water dripped into the bucket. The water level was constantly rising. Time passed. I could clearly feel that my stamina was being rapidly consumed, and at the same time, my spirit also became a bit withered and exhausted. When the water level reached 3/4 of the bucket, the blue light in my hand suddenly disappeared, and I couldn't help but lean against the bathroom wall. After relaxing for a while, I slowly stood up, looked at the clear water in the bucket, and gave a bitter smile. It's alright. It's enough for a shower, to be honest. It's quite different from what I imagined. I originally thought I could fill at least 1 full bucket. Fortunately, my stamina attribute of 8 points allowed my recovery ability to far exceed that of an ordinary person. I took a 5-minute shower and shouted that it was refreshing. Indeed, one cannot go without a shower on such hot days. I feel like the whole person has lightened up. As soon as I came out of the bathroom, the fragrance of the food hit my nose. Potato stewed with beef. I couldn't help but raise my eyebrow. I saw that on the dormitory table. A large bowl of potato stewed with beef had already been made. The brownish red soup was oily and bright. I didn't expect Sujinru to have this skill. The boxed rice had also been steamed. Sujinru heard the sound, turned around, and saw me just coming out of the bathroom. She immediately covered her eyes, her little face turning bright red. Although she had experienced quite a bit with me already, but she still couldn't be indifferent like the other 3. Put your hands down. Seeing Sujinru in this shy state, I curled my lips and commanded. Hearing this, although Sujinru's little face was as red as an apple, she still obediently put her hands down. The next moment, she blushed all the way to her ears. She only felt that my recovery speed was truly too fast, and her heart was full of surprise. Alright, what's there to be shy about? Since the food isn't ready yet, you all go take a shower first. All 4 of you together. I shook my head and instructed them. I needed to seize the time to farm attribute points and items and become powerful as quickly as possible. A shower. Hearing this, Sujinru's eyes instantly brightened. Actually, just now when she saw me showering, she had already been extremely envious, but constrained by her own status. She hadn't said anything. Can we really take a shower? Brother Lee, you are too kind. Thank you, Brother Lee. At this moment, Suyong and the other 2 also walked over impatiently, their eyes filled with excitement. Surviving in the apocalypse is the #1 issue, but now under my protection, not only do they have meat and rice to eat, they can even take a shower. How could this not make them jump for joy? The fear they originally held for me in their hearts also somewhat transformed into worship. Meanwhile, inside the first cafeteria, a burly middle-aged man fiercely slammed the noodles that had been sitting for 2 days onto the floor. It had been 2 days. He hadn't had a proper, full meal in 2 days. Every day it was just leftovers left behind in the cafeteria. He is a dignified, superpowered person. Why should he eat these rotten scraps that even dogs wouldn't eat? He wants to eat fresh rice. Teacher Liu, what are you doing? This scene attracted the attention of everyone in the cafeteria hall. Not far away, Gu Menli, who hadn't eaten for a day on an empty stomach, couldn't help but knit her delicate brows and said unhappily, Teacher Liu, it's fine if you don't eat, but please don't waste food. I'm wasting food. Liu Jianjun was instantly furious, pointing at the rotten noodles on the floor. You are telling me this is food? It's not even as good as pig slop. I spit on this. He looked at Gu Mengli viciously. A greedy look flashed in his eyes. Professor Gu, I am a superpowered person, after all. Why should I eat things that ordinary people eat? Teacher Liu, I already said, when I saved you, in the first cafeteria, there are no special privileges for superpowered people. If you are unwilling, you can choose to leave. Gu Mengli adjusted her glasses and said coldly. As soon as these words were out, Liu Jianjun was suddenly left speechless. During the day, if it weren't for Gu Mengli stepping in to save him at a critical moment, he would have long been engulfed by the zombie horde. He won't give up just like that. Since it won't work on the surface, he will use underhanded tactics. The first cafeteria still has a large amount of food stored. As long as he takes down Gu Mengli, this food will be enough for him to survive alone for half a year. But he won't give up just like that. Since it won't work on the surface, he will use underhanded tactics. The first cafeteria still has a large amount of food stored. As long as he takes down Gu Mengli, this food will be enough for him to survive alone for half a year. Liu Jianjun snorted coldly in his heart, looking at Gu Mengli with ill intent. The more he looked, the more restless his heart became. Harboring malicious thoughts, fellow surviving students, the first cafeteria still has enough food to hold out until rescue arrives, under conditions where safety is guaranteed. Students are welcome to come here. There is no distinction of high or low status. Superpowered people cannot stand above ordinary people. In short, you are all welcome. After eating, I lay comfortably on the bed, and while scrolling, I scrolled to the first cafeteria side again. The video that was posted was just that this time it wasn't Professor Gu whom I was paying attention to, but an ordinary student. In her words, She was full of satisfaction with the democratic system of the first cafeteria. Everyone is equal. I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. The apocalypse has already arrived, and yet there are still people playing games like this. On the other side, in the bathroom, Soo-young and the other three were staring eagerly at Soo-jinru. After the conversation earlier, they finally realized that this junior student, Soo-jinru, could actually create water. This instantly made the three of them look at her with new eyes. Only very quickly, Soo-young and the other two felt extremely helpless in their hearts. Their legs were about to go numb from squatting, and the water in the bucket had only slowly risen to half. But such a small amount clearly wasn't enough. I can't do it anymore. Soo-jinru felt that her head was aching severely, and leaning against the wall, she said somewhat embarrassed. Half a bucket of water was already her limit. How should we do this? There are 4 of us. How about we just wipe ourselves off instead? That's all we can do. Soo-young and the other two discussed in low voices. Fortunately, at this moment, I, who was staying on the bed scrolling through videos, saw that there was no movement from the 4 girls. So I got out of bed to check. Seeing this scene, I waved my right hand, and very quickly, water droplets condensed and kept falling into the bucket. In less than 1 minute, the bucket was full. At this moment, the 4 girls were dumbfounded as they watched. Compared to Soo-jinru's toothpaste squeezing water creation, I only waved my hand casually, and the bucket was almost full. It was simply like a miracle. Soo-jinru saw this scene, and was even more shocked in her heart. Naturally, she knew the difficulty of it, and her eyes were instantly filled with worship. Alright, go ahead and wash up quickly. After you finish washing, get some good rest. There is still serious business to be done later, I said calmly, as if it were just a trivial matter. Returning to the bed, I turned on my phone and continued scrolling. One video after another. Basically, there was no useful information. Most were just survivors staying in their rooms, struggling bitterly, posting videos asking for help. I was just about to put down my phone, when suddenly, a short video of the nearby area caught my eye. From today on, the old society is recruiting like-minded superpowered friends. Currently, there are 5 members in the association. All are welcome to join, to save this apocalyptic world. Old society. I raised an eyebrow and thought thoughtfully. Saving the world. Huh. In the video, there was a young man with dyed yellow hair, who, after speaking, also showed off his superpower. Metal manipulation. A bunch of tiny flying needles, following his mental control, and quickly hit the foam block opposite. Suddenly, from the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of the video's posting location. It was not far from the medical school. Very close. This instantly made me vigilant. As it happened, at this moment, the 4 girls, Soo-young, came out of the bathroom, but I had no mind to care about anything else right now. I pulled Soo-jinru over and handed her the phone. Come here, log into your account. As for why I chose Soo-jinru, one is because she is a girl, and she is also a big beauty on the level of a campus belle, which can make the other side lower their guard. Second, in the entire dormitory, except for me, only Soo-jinru possesses a superpower. To avoid the other party making some verification requirements later, everything must be prepared in advance. Hearing this, Soo-jinru was a bit strange, but didn't think too much about it, and obediently took the phone. After face verification was successful, she logged into her account. I took the phone and quickly found the previous page. Click private chat. Hello, I want to join the old society. Are there any requirements? After sending the message, I was about to return to the recommendation page to continue scrolling through other videos when the phone pinged a second later with an instant reply. Are you a superpowered person? I raised an eyebrow and quickly replied, yes, I am. Can you record a video to show us? No problem. After replying, I looked at Soo-jinru beside me. Use the water creation technique. Soo-jinru nodded. I found an angle and placed the phone in a fixed position, facing Soo-jinru. A wisp of blue light appeared in Soo-jinru's hand, and soon, water droplets condensed in her palm, forming a small puddle of water. I sent the video directly to the other party, and the message came back quickly, and a beautiful one at that. Is this the water creation superpower? Seeing the reply, I smiled slightly. Alright, you all go eat. Seeing the 4 girls, Soo-jinru included, still standing obediently in place, I waved my hand, and said there was no need for them anymore. Thank you. Brotherly, the eyes of the 4 girls lit up, and they nodded quickly. The potato stewed with beef set aside had long made their mouths water, but without my permission. They didn't dare to leave without authorization. Now that they had permission, the 4 grabbed their bowls and chopsticks, and sat down at the table to eat. Delicious. So fragrant. I didn't expect to be able to eat a meal like this. The fragrant rice meal entered their mouths, and the 4 girls narrowed their eyes in delight. Seeing the 4 were already eating, I shifted my attention back to the phone, and continued to reply. Yes, I am a girl. Can I join the old society now? Of course you can. You are now our 7th member. The reply came back quickly. 7th member. Didn't you say there were only 5 people in the video? 7th member. Didn't you say there were only 5 people in the video? Another superpowered person just joined us recently, so you are the 7th. After sending this, the other party sent another video over. Our base count is near the medical university, at the Fulu billiard hall. Do you know it? The space here is huge. And there is no shortage of supplies. So you can come over with peace of mind. Seeing this name, I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. This is a property owned by a rather famous rich kid locally. It even has a large supermarket, 5 billiard halls, and bars. It's a comprehensive billiard hall. No wonder they were able to recruit so many superpowered people so quickly. Okay, I am a student at the medical university, waiting for you big brothers to come and save me. I pondered for a moment, and revealed my identity. That's great. We were just discussing heading to the medical university in a while. It's much more convenient now that you're guiding us. Indeed. Seeing the yellow-haired man's reply, I sneered in my heart. These people have already started plotting against the medical university. Once I wipe out this gang of people in the old society, I can also harvest a large amount of supplies from the billiard hall. On the other side, the 4 girls had just finished eating and started to clean up. After dividing the chores, they naturally rested to recharge. Before long, a series of system notification sounds rang out. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a space expansion fragment. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 22 bullets. Obtained to stamina attribute points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1 speed attribute point. I opened the system panel, added the points, with the 2 stamina attribute points. Added to my stamina attribute, it successfully reached 10 points. My previously exhausted body instantly recovered a bit. Calm down, calm down. I quickly muttered to myself, too much is as bad as too little. I must keep some energy in reserve, just in case I really drain my stamina, and cannot react when something happens. Then I'm done for. I must be prudent. I absolutely cannot, just because I have a system, look down on everything. After repeatedly admonishing myself in my heart, I turned my gaze toward the space fragment dropped by Suyang. After using the space fragment, I can expand my space by 100 cubic meters. I directly chose to use it. The next moment, I heard a rumble from the originally white space, and the boundary expanded outward a little. Subsequently, I took out the tool treasure chest from the storage and opened it. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a system-specialized drone. My heart stirred. A small drone appeared in my hands. Now that I have it, I can explore the surrounding environment. I plan to test the drone's performance first. Try it out first, then we'll see. Through the large screen on the remote control, I can clearly see the images from outside. And soon, the scene of the first cafeteria was transmitted back. The entire cafeteria is 6 floors high. The doors and windows are tightly closed, and the entrances are basically all blocked. All the survivors are living on the top floor. Through the night vision images transmitted back by the drone, I can barely see everything happening inside. At this moment, many people in the cafeteria are clutching their stomachs and vomiting continuously. Some people even have their bodies weakening rapidly, and they fall to the ground, unable to get up. The beautiful professor is running around with a group of people, anxious and frantic, but has no way to deal with it. In the dormitory, I couldn't help but frown. What is going on? Food poisoning? But it shouldn't be this serious. Directly losing consciousness. The people who fell to the ground struggled a few times, and then went still. Most likely they are dead. I couldn't help but mutter in my heart. Beep, beep, beep. Unable to record effective sound. Do you want to enable AI lip reading subtitles? This was the drone's prompt. It has this function too. Enabling it. I got the answer the next moment. Although the cafeteria has enough food, there isn't enough drinking water, so in desperation, a group of people drank tap water that had been boiled. Nothing happened during the day. Who knew that just a moment ago? Everyone who drank the water started to have adverse reactions. Mild cases had vomiting and discomfort. Severe cases had body failure. At this moment, I couldn't help but feel lucky. Fortunately, I didn't hold any fluke mentality to drink that tap water. Otherwise, I would be like these people. In the apocalypse, caution is king. I warned myself again in my heart. To stay low is to win. After observing for a while, I maneuvered the drone to fly further away. As long as the beautiful professor is fine at the cafeteria, it's enough. If others are gone, they are gone. I don't have any feeling of the rabbit dying and the fox mourning. With night vision capabilities, the drone kept moving forward. Everything on the road was clearly visible. I found that there were quite a lot of zombies outside the first cafeteria. At least there were over 1,000. The time of the zombie outbreak was shortly after lunch, which created this situation. After roaming the entire medical university, I wasn't idle either, marking out all the dangerous locations, and finally producing a complete distribution map of zombies in the medical university. Along the way, I also discovered that some zombies would even devour their own kind, that they only eat the brain and are completely uninterested in other parts. Could it be that there is something in the zombie brain that can make them stronger? At this moment, I couldn't help but think of the gold box the system once mentioned. Whatever. I'll go check what's going on tomorrow. Sleep first, finish clearing the dormitory in the morning, and go to the first cafeteria in the afternoon. I yawned. I'm too lazy to overthink. The apocalypse is here anyway. There's no need to make myself so exhausted. Enjoy when you can. Sleep when you can. It's not easy to finally not have to be a beast of burden. Why must I insist on putting myself in that position? I yawned as I packed everything up. As for the drone, it still had over 100 hours of battery life and solar power for automatic charging. I simply raised it to 100-meter altitude to use as surveillance. After finishing all of this, the time had already reached 3 in the morning. I lay down on the bed and quickly fell into a deep sleep. 3 days passed. After 3 days of constant training and improving my speed attribute, it finally reached 15 points. The volume of the different dimension also reached 230 cubic meters. Today I plan to clear out the remaining floors. First, I operated the drone to fly a circle around the dormitory building and roughly figured out the situation inside the remaining dorms. Arriving at room 506, I discovered an anomaly. In the frame, a massive, obese zombie was stuck between 4 bed frames. I initially had no thoughts about this. Suddenly, a small box appeared above the head of this mutated zombie. Human mutant, tier 2 zombie. Strength, 20. Agility, 5. Stamina, 20. Speed, 5. Special ability, self-detonation RAM. Tier 2 zombie. Could it be that there might be a tier 2 gold box inside this zombie set? I squinted, and my thoughts suddenly shifted. I want this tier 2 gold box, but the dormitory is too narrow. So to kill this mutated zombie, the first prerequisite is not to enter the dormitory. Second is to use a firearm. And third is that the speed must be fast. It's best not to give this mutant time to react. After making a plan, I was fully armed again and appeared in the dormitory hallway. I planned to clear the entire dormitory building first, before going to room 506 to deal with that mutated zombie. Just as I arrived at the 4th floor hallway, a zombie came charging toward me, while howling. I raised my hand and fired a shot. A direct headshot. Then I used the long blade from the zombie's head. I took out a grayish-white crystal. I squinted and looked at it carefully. This crystal looked just a little bigger than an ordinary grain of rice. It was cold to the touch and very hard. As I watched it, before long, a line of small text appeared above the crystal. Tier 1 crystal, absorbable. Just as I was thinking about how to absorb the crystal, a surge of hunger suddenly came from my body. The next moment, the water manipulation superpower automatically appeared in my palm and wrapped around the crystal. Before long, the grayish-white crystal was visibly shrinking in my palm until it disappeared completely. Was this absorbed by me? I raised an eyebrow, a bit surprised. Such a hard crystal was actually just like ice melting into water, and it dissolved completely in less than 2 seconds. But where did the absorption go? I didn't feel any obvious change in my body. Before I could think more, I suddenly felt a pain in my head. The next moment, a brand new way to use the superpower suddenly appeared in his mind. Use water to transform into water armor covering the whole body. I muttered to myself, following the way to use the superpower in my mind. Deep blue light emerged from my hands. Then water droplets condensed and swirled around my whole body, gathering constantly, finally forming a constantly flowing water armor. At this moment, I was shocked. I tried holding the blade in my right hand and swung the back of the blade toward my left arm. The moment the two collided, water splashed everywhere. As expected, the flowing water armor very well defended against the impact of the back of the blade and was not affected at all. Having scavenged the entire 1st floor, I stood in front of room 506 with a solemn expression. The moment I opened the door, a roar erupted, accompanied by the violent sound of the bed frame scraping. This was the mutant struggling inside the room. I remained calm and pulled the trigger steadily. The mutant couldn't charge out. Everything was going according to plan. In the blink of an eye, the magazine was empty, until the roaring in the room gradually grew weak and disappeared. After waiting for over a minute, seeing that the room was completely silent, I slowly pushed the door open and walked in. Suddenly, a nearly 2-meter tall giant mutant appeared before my eyes. I had 11 rounds left. I squinted and fired a few more shots toward the back of the mutant's deformed head. Since it was a mutant, perhaps its brain had also mutated. Sure enough, I had only fired 3 shots when the mutant, which should have been dead, suddenly let out another roar, eyes wide open, daring its fangs as it tried to charge at me. The 4 bed frames were even broken free by struggle, shifting a small distance. My expression changed, and I decisively retreated. Damn it, it can even play dead. I cursed it under my breath. Even zombies have intelligence these days. Just as I retreated to the hallway, I saw the entire mutant body like a balloon instantly start to expand. Self-detonation. This sight instantly made my expression change drastically. Fortunately, I was extremely fast, running nearly 10 meters away in the blink of an eye. After a loud explosion, I climbed up from the ground, cursing, "Son of a, this self-detonation is damn powerful." Fortunately, I ran fast enough and was cautious enough. Walking back into the room, I found a marble-sized tier to gold box among the mutant's remains. Looking at the gold box in my hand, I immediately controlled the water manipulation superpower to wrap around the tier to crystal core and began to absorb it. In less than half a minute, the marble-sized crystal core was absorbed until it completely vanished. Suddenly, I felt my body undergo changes. Muscles, skin, and even bones felt a slight itch, but it disappeared very quickly. This was my physical fitness fitness being strengthened. After the superpower upgraded, it also came with an improvement in physical fitness. I opened the system panel to see how much attribute improvement the superpower upgrade had brought. Name: Liangi. Age: 23. Strength: 11. Agility: -1. Speed: 17. Stamina: 12. Special ability: Tier 2. Water manipulation superpower: 10%. Although I had advanced to a Tier 2 superpower, no new ability techniques appeared. Thinking about this, I had a rough guess in my mind. The appearance of ability techniques is probably unrelated to the strength of the superpower level. It depends entirely on one's own comprehension. After all, this isn't a game. It's not like once your level increases, you can unlock new skills. The previously learned water armor is inclined toward defense. Other water-based, superpowered people might comprehend a water gun, inclined toward offense or remote water bullet attacks. The reason Sujinru comprehended water creation, I suspect, is probably simply because she was hiding in the dormitory and was about to die of thirst, which led to this comprehension, having roughly figured out some rules of superpowers. I was a bit invigorated. The apocalypse has not long arrived. Everyone is currently crossing the river by feeling the stones. These rules of superpowers are currently very important information. Knowing this a step early allows for establishing more advantages on this basis. If nothing else, the fact that crystal cores can be absorbed to become stronger is probably something not many people know yet. I must take advantage of this time difference to quickly become stronger, while I still have some spare time. I intend to check out the situation at the first cafeteria, but the scene at the cafeteria entrance made my heart sink. The massive pile of corpses that was originally stacked at the entrance was now reduced to nothing but messy traces, clearly cleared away by something. Some mutated creature must have been attracted by the corpses. The iron door of the cafeteria that was originally blocked had been broken open and was severely damaged. I hurriedly operated the drone to fly toward the window glass on the periphery of the cafeteria to see what was going on. Zombie rats. The drone had just flown to the second floor when I saw the culprit. A large swarm of mutated zombie rats. There were at least 200 or 300 of them, 3 times the size of a normal rat, with glowing red eyes, hairless bodies, and covered in strange blood-red granules, looking exceptionally horrifying. A dense, massive horde of them were rushing up to the upper floors like a tidal wave. At this moment, many people on the 6th floor top level of the cafeteria had desperate looks in their eyes, watching the sudden zombies outside the window in a daze. The rats left only 1/10 of the survivors in the cafeteria. They didn't even have the courage to fight back. They had tried to resist before, but facing the surging rat horde, weapons were like ornaments. The rat horde completely ignored attacks from wooden sticks and brooms and swarmed them, instantly crawling all over their bodies. In less than a second, a living person would be instantly submerged by the rat horde and lose the ability to resist. This terrifying scene almost destroyed everyone's psychological defense line, scattering in all directions to escape, and eventually swarming to the top floor. Many people didn't die in the mouths of the rats along the way, but instead died under the trampling of their own kind. Some, even because they ran too slowly, were directly shut out of the door. At a critical moment, if it weren't for a female student under Gumenli, who awakened the ice-type superpower and barely sealed the 2 iron doors at the staircase entrance, everyone would have been wiped out already. But even so, only about 20 people remained out of the original nearly 200. I have already said, eat the fresh food early if you have it. Look at the situation now. People are about to die, and a huge pile of poor canned beef is still sitting in the freezer, under the pressure of death. Liu Jianjin's suppressed emotions completely exploded. He looked at Gu Menli, who was staring out the window, not knowing what she was thinking, and cursed loudly. "It's all because of you, you bitch, making me unable to eat a good meal even before I die." Gu Menli frowned and didn't speak. "Teacher Liu, what do you mean by that?" That student with the ice-type superpower couldn't help but rebuke angrily. These monsters were attracted by the corpses at the entrance. Teacher Gu had repeatedly warned at the time to throw the corpses further away, just in case. It was you few who were greedy for life and afraid of death, fearing you would encounter zombies on the road. So you placed the corpses directly at the cafeteria entrance, which is why these monsters found their way here. Hey, how do you know these monsters were attracted by the corpses? Nonsense. I have long found you all annoying. Anyway, everyone is going to die today. I am going to be a lustful ghost before I die. At this life and death moment, Liu Jianjin's eyes were full of madness. Liu Jianjin's words stunned all the girls. Liu Jianjin, before the apocalypse, had the image of a nice guy in school, a kind teacher who always had a smile for everyone. Now that the apocalypse has arrived, it's like he has become a different person. Liu Jianjin waved his hand, and several lackeys immediately stood behind him. He is a super-powered person, after all. Recruiting a few lackeys is naturally easy. He approached Gu Menli step by step, with an extremely arrogant attitude, but the next moment, he suddenly felt a pain in his arm. Looking down, a needle had been precisely stuck into his blood vessel. The liquid inside had already been completely pushed into his body. He hadn't finished speaking when Liu Jianjin suddenly felt a wave of dizziness, and Gu Mengli was looking at him coldly. Liu Jianjin clutched his chest suddenly. A wave of intense pain spread through his whole body along with his blood. This is a nerve-paralyzing toxin. It can quickly make a person lose the ability to act. Watching Liu Jianjin collapse to the ground, struggling painfully and continuously, Gu Mengli explained expressionlessly, "Nerve-paralyzing toxin. Nerve-paralyzing toxin. Instantly, everyone present instinctively stepped back one pace. You all seem to have forgotten that this is a medical university. Gu Mengli shook her head and said calmly, many things can cure illnesses, and can also stop evil deeds. On the day the apocalypse broke out, she had classes in the afternoon, and happened to need to use it, so she brought a large bottle with her. Not expecting it would be useful at this time. If you don't want to die, I have more than half a bottle left here. Mix it with some water and use the food in the freezer as bait. We should be able to kill most of the rats. It's not like there's no hope for survival. Gu Mengli suggested. I only hope that after the rats break through the door, you all have a bit of backbone, and can pick up weapons to resist like men, instead of closing your eyes and waiting for death. After saying that, she swept her gaze over these people, turned around, and started to prepare the solution. After these words, everyone was suddenly silent. You look at me, and I look at you. Eventually they took action, and started their final struggle. That's awesome. Outside the window, the drone recorded all of this, completely. I was left dumbfounded. In the dormitory, I stood up quickly, and started putting on my equipment. I had originally planned to rest and regroup, but now it seems I can only wait until after saving Professor Gu to talk about it. At such a critical moment, it's also time for the protagonist to make an entrance, and perform a hero saving a beauty. Although a hero saving a beauty is a cliche, it is indeed useful many times. I speculated in my heart about the thickness of the ice layer on the cafeteria's iron door. It should be able to hold out for at least another hour or so I wasn't too anxious. Saving people is one thing, but the prerequisite is not to get myself killed in the process. Nearly 300 rats are not so easy to deal with. I intend to wait for Gu Mengli to first use the toxin to weaken as many rats as possible, and then make my move at the critical moment. It's just a pity about so much food in the cold storage. I sighed with some regret. Normally, the cold storage would store cafeteria supplies for 2 to 3 days of daily consumption, which could be eaten for a long time, but Gu Mengli and the others are in imminent danger. In order to stay alive, they will definitely take out all the food as bait to buy time. Fortunately, there are quite a few cafeteria buildings at the medical university, and 3 or 4 of them haven't lost power yet, so the things in the freezer can still be preserved for a day or 2. But time is also of the essence. Once the power is cut off, the remaining food will rot very quickly. After saving Gu Mengli, I must seize the time to salvage supplies. Brother Lee, are you going out again? At this moment, the 4 girls saw me fully armed, and walked over with some concern. Going out in the apocalypse is extremely dangerous every time. I am their reliance now, so they couldn't help but feel a bit worried. You all rest well and wait for me to come back. Listening to my instructions, they knew I was telling them to rest up, and wait for my safe return. Walking out of the dormitory building, I first sent the drone up, to monitor the situation around. Even so, I still had a vigilant expression. In the apocalypse, caution is the mother of safety. Suddenly, 3 rhombus-shaped zombies rushed out on the road. Seeing this, I squinted. I gripped the blade handle tightly, and the water armor instantly covered my entire body. With a flicker of my eyes, my toes kicked off the ground fiercely. The long blade was wrapped in a strong gust of wind. As I slashed toward the neck of the zombie in the very front, facing a zombie siege for the first time, I chose to take the initiative. After all, in the future, there will be many similar scenes of fighting zombies, so I slashed horizontally with the blade, and the zombie in the very front fell to the ground in response. The zombie on the right suddenly accelerated. That withered black claw almost scratched my face. Fortunately, I reacted quickly, leaning to the side at the limit, and immediately followed up with a backhand horizontal slash. After the cold light passed, that zombie also fell to the ground in response. The battle ended, and I was quite satisfied with my performance. Under the boost of high attributes, it was clean, and a one-hit kill. It's just that my reaction was slightly slow, and I couldn't multitask. But it's not a big problem. Once I reached the neural overclocking superpower, neural overclocking and the agility attribute working in tandem, my reaction speed will soon catch up. I took out the drone to check the situation around me. Everything was normal, and I quickly hurried toward the direction of the first cafeteria. On the other side, inside the freezer on the top floor of the cafeteria, most of the food, especially meat, had already been piled up by the entrance. And not far away, a wall half the height of a person was built. Will this work? Someone couldn't help but ask, feeling very uneasy in their heart, suddenly seeing a glimmer of hope amidst despair. People will start thinking uncontrollably and uncontrollably. Rest assured, these mutated rats eat everything. As long as they break in, they definitely won't let go of the food delivered right to their mouths. The effect of the neurotoxin cannot be completely neutralized even by mutated creatures. In order to let these rats ingest enough reagent, she even specifically had the ice-type student process it and cover most of the meat, forming a thin layer of ice film. As long as the mutated rats are still flesh and blood, relying on the nervous system and muscles to act. Once they ingest it, it will take effect. Perhaps they won't die on the spot, but it is enough to make them lose the ability to act. How long has the power to the freezer been off? Gu Mengli turned her head to look at Li Kun and asked, "Teacher, it's been off for almost half an hour." Li Kun looked at her phone. "Let's go inside." Gu Mengli nodded. The iron freezer door will be their last line of defense. Everyone had weapons in their hands at this time. Although they were just some iron rods, dismantled from chairs, they should be enough to deal with a small number of mutated rats. The reagent she brought is not much. Nearly 300 rats. It's impossible for all of them to lose the ability to act. There will be at least a few dozen that slip through the net. Suddenly, a loud noise was heard. In everyone's horrified eyes, a large hole was suddenly smashed into the 6th floor iron door. The next moment, a large number of mutated rats instantly swarmed in. Seeing this scene, a hint of panic appeared in Gu Mengli's eyes. She didn't expect the iron door to be breached so quickly. According to the plan, there should have been time to reinforce the iron door. Fortunately, at this moment, the food that everyone had piled up earlier played a role, facing the delicacies delivered right to their mouths. These mutated rats didn't hesitate at all, and started to devour them. Gu Mengli hurriedly urged, "Cross into the freezer." Finally, everyone entered the freezer. The iron door was quickly closed. But the moment the freezer iron door closed, Gu Mengli's expression suddenly changed. Behind the rat horde, a huge figure suddenly appeared. This is the Rat King, downstairs of the first cafeteria. Looking at the images transmitted back by the drone, my heart sank. To think there was actually a big guy, thanks to my cautious nature of releasing the drone before going upstairs. Otherwise, I might have collided with this monster directly. That thing is taller than an adult when it stands up.